Me back. I restarted the YouTube stream. I think I made a new link. I think I titled it HSR Story Part 4 because the YouTube stream needs to restart please. Under 6 hours. Thank you for the welcome back 1124 Max Yamamoto Digistar Hataki Fia Luxury Sari Piasu Bob. This not the end. Thank you Russian dude Jess Tweet Tweet. I see some. Thank you to Rar on YouTube. Looks like our YouTube stream is back too. 谢谢大家的欢迎回来. Thank you for the welcome backs. We can continue from where I really like this BGM track. Thank you, Nick. Nick posted the link in our Twitch. Let me pause our BGM. Then we'll continue our quest. Quest BGM. It says on YouTube the event is over. Wait, which event? The live stream for the live chat for the old stream closed too fast. I think it always closes when the stream ends. The old chat closes once the stream ends. There's no chat room like on Twitch where you can there's like offline chat and everything. Just says no longer available. You can't send anything in the chat room after either. Let me see what's going on here. Sunday comes over. So he starts off as question.
恭喜二位成为此次协乐大典的盛会巨星。在进入大剧院前
Before entering the Grand Theater, my sister.
正如之前所承诺的，我家妹吉瓦尔特先生已面见了盟主，向他就匹诺康尼与星河的真相展开了深入讨论，并且达成了共识。
Could this be Sparkle?
我们认同各位无名客的观点。
I feel like
匹诺康尼需要改变，
Robin's not here.
但绝不是以你们要求的方式。盛会之星绝不能，也绝不会变回混乱无序。
The planet of festivities cannot and will not revert to a place characterized by chaos, disorder, or anarchy.
一路过关斩将，你应该或多或少感受到了那个时代的缩影。弱势者被无情淘汰，平等荡然无存。在残酷的竞争中，人们朝不保夕，艰难度日。
Through your journey of overcoming obstacles, you must have glimpsed the essence of that era. The vulnerable ruthlessly eliminated, equality non-existent, common folk living precarious lives, eking out a dreary existence.
最后，只有像各位这样的英雄，才能获得成功。
Ultimately, only heroes like yourselves manage to achieve success.
但试问，如果你没有星河赋予的特殊身份，你只是芸芸众生中脆弱的一员，你会更喜欢哪一种匹诺康尼？
This sounds like our Sunday, but I would dare ask if you did not possess the special status of having a stellar one, and you were but an anonymous and frail member among the masses, which penacony would you prefer? The one with Firefly.
适者生存的蛮荒之地，还是人人得以幸福的美梦乐园？
A dystopia for survival of the fittest.
适者生存的蛮荒之地，还是人人得以幸福的美梦乐园？
I don't think you said dystopia in Chinese. I was thinking the dystopia would be more like the sweet dream paradise. A barren place for the survival of the fittest, or a sweet dream paradise for all. But why is there no in between? Why does it have to be a survival of the fittest or a sweet dream paradise? There's nothing wrong with being the fittest. A sweet dream paradise doesn't sound too bad. I don't know. Why are you asking me?
这不是重点，你被他绕进去了。
March speaks up. Sweet Dream isn't even that. Sweet Sunday is all about this. There's only the two extremes. That's not the point. Sweetly, don't let him mislead you.
星期日先生，就算项目加戏的诸位不能完全同意有关星河的安排，现在恐怕也不是对匹诺康尼的过去和未来高谈阔论的时候吧。
Now where's Walt? If you finish the talk, what happened to 瓦尔特先生? Even if the members of the Oak family can't fully agree on what to do about this dollar run, now's not exactly the time to be holding an extensive discourse about Penacony's past and future, is it?
星河问题关乎匹诺康尼所有人的生死存亡。如果各位有更好的提案，列车组愿意洗耳恭听。 不妨一五一十地告诉我们那场会谈的来龙去脉吧。
The Stellaron issue concerns the life and death of everyone on Penacony. If anyone has a better suggestion, the crew is more than willing to listen. Also, it'd be best to tell us the ins and outs of the meeting. We don't even know what happened yet. Welcome panel leader to the stream. Strong, weak, paradise, survival of the fittest. It's either paradise or it's chaos. Sunday is all about black and white only. People are only good or evil.
这样我们也好知道，瓦尔特和知更鸟小姐究竟遭遇了什么，才没能如约而至。
Kimiko's asking the same question. That way, we'll at least know what Walt and Miss Robin are dealing with, and the reason why they failed to make our appointment.
领航员，我正有此意。 既然人已到齐，我们就从那场会谈讲起吧。
Navigator, that's precisely my intention. With all present, let's begin by discussing the details of that meeting.
聊聊我们的困境和选择，我们各自的理想和信念。
Let's talk about our tribulations and choices, our ideals and beliefs.
还有我们最终应行的。 唯一的道路。
And our final course of action, the only path we can take. A while ago.
你们的意思是，长久以来，竟有
Oh,
恶徒
we're back to
将
Walt.
我等为世人赐福的协乐大典，当作实现野心的工具。
You mean to say they really are talking? I guess they're talking to. There's a bird and then there's a person over here. You mean to say that for the longest time, there have been scoundrels who would use the Charmony festival that I have bequeathed to the masses as a tool to realize their ambition?
正是，梦主大人。一旦协乐大典开始，星河的力量 将随着歌声传遍整个匹诺康尼，届时，梦中的所有人都将无法从梦中醒来。
Indeed, Dream Master, once the Charmony festival begins, the Stellaron's powers, along with the song, will be broadcast across the entire planet of Penacony, and then everyone in their dreams will be unable to awaken. So it wasn't bad before. They were all plotting for this moment where people would finally be unable to wake up. Thank you, Nonu, for the hydrate. Let me drink some water. What is Fischl's bird doing in HSR? A lot of people said it does look like Fischl's bird.
Hmm. 这倒是令我意外。梦境是五大家族共同维护的结果。若有人利用邪乐肆意散布那星河的力量，此人必然身居高位。
This is indeed surprising to me. Dreamscape is maintained by the collective effort of the 5 families. If someone were to use the Charmony Festival to recklessly disseminate the power of the Stellaron, This individual must hold a position of great authority.
你们可有怀疑的对象？
Have any suspects?
请问，您当真不知道星河的存
The
在？
Dream Master didn't know about the Stellaron's existence.
我倒是从未想过，这位无名客会直接将矛头指向本人，
I would have never
着实
thought
令人瞠目结舌。
this nameless would point the spear at me. Quite astonishing indeed.
如有冒犯，星穹列车向您郑重道歉。但眼下情势紧急，容不得细密探访了。这也是为了梦境的安稳着想，
Well, it's always on
还请您
guard.
打消我们的顾虑。
If I have offended, the Astro Express extends its sincere apologies. But the current circumstances are dire and leave no room for meticulous inquiry. We're doing this out of concern for the dreamscape's safety. So if you could please alleviate our
梦主大
concern.
人，只要能证明邪月大典与星河无关，是我们多心了的话，我会如约回到舞台现场。
Dream Master, if you can prove the Harmony Festival has nothing to do with the Stellaron, if we're being overly cautious, I will return to the stage to offer tribute in song just per the arrangement. Dream Master.
星期日，知更鸟，我看着你们长大，深知你们的秉性。现今的你们，却可成为他最前线的传送者。我已知晓你们的决心。
Oh, I can see the little bird in the back. Sunday and Robin. I've watched you two grow up and know your dispositions like the back of my hand. Both of you right now can surely be lauded as their most devout advocates. I already know your resolve.
兹事体大，非同等闲。既然瓦尔特先生诚心相求，我自当亲力亲为，以示回应。如有必要，整个项目加戏，也可随各位差遣。
The magnitude of this matter is enormous and cannot be taken lightly. Since Mr. Young has asked with such earnestness, I will personally respond in kind. If there is a need, the entire Oak family will be mobilized to heed your call. Wow.
星期日，可否使你向他恳求，降下光芒，并待他朝我提问，令所有谎言无所遁形。
He's asking Sunday to beseech them to cast their light and question me in their stead, so no lies may be concealed. Eventually, he was still able to tell lies, but I guess Sunday saw through.
谨遵您的旨意。
As you command.
知更鸟，可否使你临场见证，记录实情，并传述我的清白，令全部污名悉数消散。
Robin, could I entrust you to be present as a witness to document the truth and to proclaim my innocence, so that all slander may be utterly dispelled?
谨遵您的旨意。
As you command.
我等愿儿旨成行于地，如于天也。
May thy will be carried out on earth, just as it is in the heavens.
三重面相的灵魂呐、请你用热铁烙他的舌和手心，使他不能编造谎话，立定假誓。
As light used against our adventuring, triple-faced soul. Please sear his tongue and palms with a hot iron, so he will not be able to fabricate lies and make false vows.
开始吧。
Oh, and then the harmony filter is on. Let us begin. There's nothing else to prepare.
是。
Yes.
试问，你是否始终对你的神虔诚，从未敬拜别神？
Question. Have you devoted your life to your God, never worshipping other gods?
自然如此。
Naturally.
你是否爱你的神如同爱你自身，始终纪念他的告诫？
Do you love your God as you do yourself, always heeding their admonishments.
自然如此。
Naturally,
你是否叛离了你的神所期望的路，辜负了他的名？
have you strayed from the path expected by your God, betraying their name?
从未有过。
Never.
你是否对你的神要求僭越，妄图超过受造物的本分？
Have you ever been inordinate with your asks of your God, coveting more than the foundation of the creation itself?
从未有过。
Never.
那么，最后一个问题，
Sunday's final questions are always interesting. What will you ask here? I want to ask.
你是否能够发誓，保证自己必定履行一切所许，
I want to ask.
无论过往、现今，还是未来？
I feel like you forgot to ask who is your God? Which path are you following? Are we sure he's following harmony? He's not betraying his God, but what if his God's not the harmony God? What if he's following a different God? Do you swear to fulfill all vows, past, present, and future? If you're asking a traitor, you don't ask them, are you true to your master? I mean, yes, I'm true to my master. But who is your master? Which one of you serve a different master? Thank you, Nettie, for the raid. I hope your stream went well. I thought that was gonna be Sunday's final question. The final question is do you follow harmony? Thank you, Nettie, for sending everyone over after. Appreciate it. We're in the middle of our 2.2 quest in case you haven't finished yet. Who is your Hoshi? The questions he asks are a bit strange. Do you swear to fulfill all vows? Do you swear you follow the path of harmony? Do you swear to fulfill all vows, past, present, and future?
星神在上，若我所言不实，或食言背约，则依照律令承受诅咒。
With the Aeon as my witness, if I do not deliver on my words or if I renege on my vows, may I be cursed in accordance with divine law. I feel like he asked a lot of questions, but we're not really any clear about what his intentions are.
他看到了你的信念，并对你的信念表示认可。如此，即可证明
They have seen your faith and have endorsed your faith. With this, it can be evidenced.
请等一下，
Wait a moment, says Well. Well, are you gonna?
怎么了，
Are you gonna?
瓦尔
play
特
that?
先生？
What is it, Mr. Young?
各位，我还有个问题希望得到解答。
I have another question I hope to have
据我所
answered.
知，家族的和睦共荣从来都不依托于所谓的律令。
Well, it says objection. To my understanding, the family's harmony and prosperity have never relied on so-called divine laws.
两位方才口中的神，
Wow, it's
当真是
actually
那么
asking
匹
the
配？
question. The God you both mentioned. Are they truly Shipe? The God you were questioning. Is it the harmony?
瓦尔特先生理应知晓，家族子民亲
Well,
如手
actually ask the question.
在他的光芒下，拥抱团结，万众一心，一切二心在同邪面前无所遁形。
Mr. Young should know that those belonging to the family. We need the harmony filter for this question. Mr. Young should know that those belonging to the family toil together as if they were kin, embracing solidarity and unity under their light. All duplicity is laid bare before the harmony.
如此精妙复杂的乐章，若非神主西配，又有哪一位神明能够完美调和？
Such a delicate and complex symphony. Which other god? could perfectly harmonize this if not for the great one she paid. Is he responding with a rhetorical question?
完美调和。问题正在于此，在暗中潜移默化改变童鞋的，并非外敌，而是自这曲乐章中暗自诞生的不协和音。
Perfectly harmonized. Therein lies the problem. It isn't an outsider lurking in the shadows who changed the harmony, but a dissonance that has surreptitiously emerged from within the very symphony itself.
在久远的过去，曾有一柱星神存在于世间，它波动指节，编织银河律法。他的信众组成天外合唱班，向全宇宙传扬庄严肃穆的圣歌。
The choir are, Anna. In the distant past, there existed an aeon. With one flick of the wrist, they crafted the laws of the cosmos. Their followers formed the Beyond the Sky Choir, spreading solemn and reverent hymns throughout the universe.
后来，他陨落了。
It
这位
is
星
our
神所行的
aeon
道
of the
路
order.
与童鞋产生碰撞，为后者吞纳同化。那响彻寰宇的合唱一度沉默，再奏响时，已成了邪乐的颂歌。
Later, they fell. The route traversed by this aeon clashed with the harmony, ultimately being absorbed and fused into it. The chorus that once reverberated across worlds fell silent, and when it echoed anew, it was transformed into the hymn of harmony. Val knows about what's going on.
纵使星神消亡，也会留下无主的命途。在包容万象的童鞋中，自然也可能有旧日的杂音悄然滋生。
The dissonance that rises from within. Though an aeon may perish, paths with no master still linger. And people that follow the path might still linger. In the all-forgiving harmony, echoes of bygone dissonance may subtly arise.
瓦尔特先生，
Mr. Walt,
过分敏锐
you
绝
know
非
too
易，
much.
尤其
Uh-oh.
在孤立
I
无
see.
援的时刻。
Is that why he's not here? Being overly astute. That means he is, right? Sunday was... I wonder if Sunday knows, though. I don't know if Sunday purposely... I wonder if Sunday purposely tried to cover for the Dream Master? Or if he just didn't realize this was a possibility. Being overly astute can be a detriment, especially when you find yourself alone and without allies.
果然是这样。
果然是这样, so this is how it is. He doesn't follow.
为我等伟业着想，星期日，请二位稍作歇息吧。
For these two? Sunday knows Robin and Walt are the Arway. For the sake of our grand cause, please afford these two an opportunity to rest.
什么？
So Sunday purposely didn't ask the question. Robin didn't know, and Walt figured it out. Our gaze?
对不起，这个鸟。唯独你，我不想你知道这一切。可惜，事与愿违。
事与愿违. Sorry, Robin. It's you. It's just you. I did not wish for you to know this. It's a pity that things have turned out this way. Sunday's using his powers on Robin.
对不起，这个鸟。唯独你，我不想你知道这一切。可惜，事与愿违。
It's a pity things always turn out different than what we wish. But Robin's the only one he didn't want to find out about this. I did not wish for you to know this. Robin and Sunday are actually related, and that's what March. I was thinking about March's the 预言家3月7. I was thinking if it went the path of the Dream Master being bad, that would be like the Battlebot quest, where Cocolia kind of betrayed our Bronya, and here the Dream Master technically wasn't related to Robin and Sunday, but Robin is related to Sunday. 事与愿违。
所以这才是我无法歌唱的真正原因。笼罩皮诺康尼的阴影。
It's you.
其实是。
So it is Sunday. Well, Sunday didn't seem to have purposely. I remember when I was walking around the bookshelves about the traitor in 2.1. I was like, what if Sunday is the traitor? But then Sunday didn't seem like he wanted anything bad to happen to Robin, so it was a bit of a different thing. So this is the true reason I can't sing. The shadow. I guess Sunday indirectly caused the sister. It was because Robin couldn't sing that Robin went to investigate what happened and then got ferried over by Sleepy. Though Sunday didn't really know what was going on in his own dreamscape, it feels like. 离哥哥远了之后，嗓音就恢复了。They baited us with him being nice to Robin. He cared about Robin, but he didn't know about the world within Penacony. The shadow, he had some other plans though. The shadow that envelops Penacony is actually.
我们从来不是同鞋的孩子。你我理想中的乐园，也不应由西佩创造。万众的幸福，只能由立于万众之上的一人来承诺。
We were never children of the harmony. Is he trying to overthrow the harmony? Our ideal paradise could not have been crafted by Shipei. True bliss can only be guaranteed by the one who transcends the many.
于律法之中，人类构建社会。
Within the foundation of law, humanity establishes civilization.
于同谐之中，我们拥获秩序。
And through harmony, we obtain order. He's trying to bring back our order, or he's trying to turn everyone that follows Shipei into followers of our order. He basically said, hand me the controller, you don't know how to play. No, but it's unclear. It feels like maybe this is one of those. Anna herself has nothing to do with this. It's people who believed and followed the order, thinking they know what's going on. Through harmony, we obtain order. Well, we learn more about Anna then.
秩序的残党。
Well, venturing the eyes of anything. Unbelievable to think there would be remnants of the order on Penacony. Oh, this reminds me of those Chinese dramas where it's like when one dynasty overthrows the other one, and then there's some remnants of the past dynasty, and then they want to go and regain control. Or when one family overthrows another family and gains the throne, and then there's like a boy, like a prince somewhere of the bloodlines of the. So that one is a bit more like there's usually like someone with a bloodline. Here, Sunday's not really like a bloodline of Anna. It reminds me of those types of tropes. Yeah. Thank you, Karans, for the hydrate. Let me drink some water. Is that the plot of the Fire Emblem game? Sounds like every Fire Emblem game. And then in some cases it's like the original king or the original emperor didn't even really want to continue ruling or having their family rule, but but the sons are always ambitious, or the remnants of the previous royal family is usually always ambitious. Unbelievable to think there would be remnants of the order on penacony.
你们把杨树和知更鸟小姐怎么了？
What did you do to Mr. Young? I'm more worried about Mr. Young. Sunday, I think, would not hurt Robin, but I don't think Sunday cares about Mr. Young.
请放心，只是给了他们一点独自沉思命运的时间。
Don't worry, I just gave them some time alone to ponder their fate. But what fate exactly?
你应该明白，这么做意味着与星穹列车为敌。
You should know that these actions make you an enemy of the Astro Express. Probably makes you an enemy of lots of people. 狐狸进度这次好快，快吗？ Welcome back, Marcuso. The leftover scion of the old order is either ambitious or have people around them that need them to be ambitious. Like maybe in this case, I do feel like a lot of the times, maybe even in this case, usually it's like they find the boy who has some bloodlines, but the boy gets raised up by people who want to use them to accomplish some purpose. Here it feels like maybe it's the Dream Master. They found Robin and Sunday, and because they resonated with Harmony, they were like, we're gonna raise you up to believe in this philosophy and to pursue this agenda for us, kind of thing.
即便一定要与各位无名客为敌，也只有我和项目加戏而已。但我们还没走到那一步，不是吗？
Should we need to stand against the nameless? That begs the question, if Sunday didn't... Or maybe Sunday didn't expect Wall to be so smart. Sunday probably should have told Robin she couldn't have participated in the talk. It would only be myself and the Oak family involved, but we haven't reached that point yet, have we?
各位为匹诺康尼的公义四处奔走，这一点是所有人都看在眼里的。
Your efforts for the justice of penacony are evident to everyone and have been widely observed. Give Mr. Young back to us.
我会的，但这要取决于此次谈判的结果。
I intend to. But that hinges on the outcome of this negotiation. What are we negotiating?
如果是秩序驱使你囚禁瓦尔特和知更鸟，还要借此胁迫我们乖乖就范，那我想，我们根本没有坐下谈判的必要。
If it's the order that drove you to imprison Welt and Robin, and you're using them to coerce our compliance, then there will be no point in entertaining any type of discussion.
您误会了，姬子小姐，他们很安全，正如家族一如既往的承诺，没有人会在梦境里受到伤害，更遑论属于秩序的美丽新世界。
He does want to make a new world belonging to the order. I feel like order, Anna may not be involved in this. You're mistaken, Miss Himiko. They're in very safe hands, and just as the family has always proclaimed, no one can be harmed in the dreamscape, least of all in the beautiful new world belonging to the order. Just as the family has always proclaimed.
匹诺康尼和这片宇宙都见证过太多无辜的鲜血，强者向弱者挥刀，胜者将败者的生命推向尽头。
Penacony and the entire universe have witnessed far too much innocent bloodshed. The strong wield their blades against the weak, and victors push the vanquished to the brink of life. Sunday probably believed human beings were born to be like this, the strong against the weak. Just like how he thinks birds are born to try to fly and die, so he's gonna cage everyone up. Like how he wanted to cage the bird up, maybe. So they all stay nice and safe in this new order-ruled Penacony. Because without it, he thinks everyone will just succumb to The strong wielding their blades against the weak, and victors pushing the vanquished to the brink of
自然
life.
选择，世界遵循这一法则，将全人类的福祉
We can just
建立
cage
在
them
弱
all
者
up.
的遗骸上。只有我们，
He always
或者
wanted
说
to keep
我，有能力终结这出荒唐的闹剧。
everyone safe in the cage. And Robin wanted to give the bird. Well, Robin had a bit of the other extreme. Natural selection. The world abides by this principle, establishing the well-being of humanity atop the corpses of the downtrodden. Only we, pathstriders of order, or rather I, possess the power to put an end to this farce.
你们打算复活一位已死的星神，从来没有人做到过这件事。
Are they actually trying to resurrect Anna? I thought they were just doing this in the name of Anna. You've decided to resurrect a dead Aeon? No one's ever done such a
既
thing.
然姬子小姐有兴趣，我们就打开天窗说亮话吧。我始终认为，人们可以通过和平的方式理解彼此。
If Miss Himiko is interested, let's draw back the veil and speak candidly. I've always firmly believed that people can understand one another through peaceful means.
我愿意将秩序行者的志向如实告知各位，以便你们做出对星穹列车、匹诺康尼和这片宇宙更好的判断。语言苍白无力，难以描绘出那理想的面貌。
I'm willing to divulge the unembellished truth as to the intentions of the Order's pathstriders himself, so that you will make better judgment for the Astral Express, for penacony, and for this stretch of the universe. Words can hardly do justice to the beauty of that ideal. It's time for pictures?
所以随我来吧，各位，让我们一起重走来时的路，再看看这路将要通向何方。
So come with me, everyone. Let us retrace our steps and see once again where this road leads.
他怎么消失了？
And then he poofed. Where did he disappear to?
欢迎，这里不是匹诺康尼梦境的任何一角，而是我的内心世界。面前的景象之所以没有变化，
It's his inner
是
world.
因为各位的意识提取了相似的概念，
We
予以
entered
补
his
全。
domain. Welcome. This isn't any location. Or maybe that's where he put Walt and Robin in his inner world. This isn't any location in Penacony's dreamscape. It's my inner world. The reason the scenery before you remains unchanged is because your consciousness has drawn on similar concepts to fulfill the gaps. You've imprisoned us?
你也对瓦尔特做了同样的事。
Himiko says, did you do the same to Walt?
这是一种调律，效果更强，也更费神。这位灰色头发的客人此前经历过，他应该能明白。
When we first landed in Penacony and he looked at us, it's a tuning process. Stronger in effect and more draining on the mind. Sweetly has experienced it before, so she should understand what it entails.
透过调律，各位可以更直观地理解我的情绪。这也意味着，我将对你们毫无隐瞒。
Tuning allows you to intuitively grasp my feelings, which also means I cannot hide anything from you.
接下来，我想请各位观看大屏幕，我们来时的路就从这里开始。
Oh. Now, everyone, please look at the huge screen. The road we once took begins here. Sunday just poofed and put us into. That's the different welcome to my world. A different meaning of welcome to my world. 这里的情况，狐狸之前所感慨的很适合哪次感慨？欢迎回来，滴滴血。
从这里开始，各位将看到我经历过的诸多抉择。我选取了其中一部分与你们分享。
It's our dove. From the first part, from this point on, you will witness the numerous decisions I faced. I've selected a portion of these to share with you.
我想，在经历了共同的困境后，各位一定能够理解我的想法。
He's showing us instead of telling us. I believe after going through similar predicaments, you'll be able to better understand my thoughts. I feel like Sunday has good intentions, but I guess we'll see.
开始吧。第一个抉择
It's a bit of an
与
extreme
一只雏鸟的故事有关。
extreme take. Let us begin. The first decision. 第一个。
开始吧。第一个抉择与一只雏鸟的故事有关。
A story about the baby bird. I wonder why the color here on the bird is different than the color here on this bird. Is this the one Sunday sees? A story about a baby bird.
这则故事发生在我和知更鸟很小的时候。我们是星河之灾的受害者，家族的戈斐木先生，也就是日后的匹诺康尼梦主，见我们兄妹两人无依无靠，便收养了我们。
The story happened when Robin and I were very young. We were victims of the Stellaron disaster, and the family's Mr. Gopher would later become the Dream Master. So at the time, he wasn't the Dream Master. Saw that we siblings had no one to turn to and took us in.
那之后，我和知更鸟度过了一段相对无忧无虑的时光。某一天的晚餐后，我和妹妹在戈斐莫先生的庭院里，意外发现了一只孤单的小斜月鸽。
Later on, Robin and I lived a time with nary a care in the world. One day after dinner, while my younger sister and I were lounging about in Mr. Gopherwood's yard, we spotted a fledgling Charmony dove all on its own.
那只雏鸟还小，连羽毛都没长齐，
The
也
picture
不
from
会唱歌。
before.
我们发现时，它落在草丛中奄奄一息，似乎是被父母遗弃了。
The baby bird was tiny. It didn't even have all of its feathers, and it couldn't sing. When we found it, it was already on its last breath, having fallen into a shrub, probably abandoned by its parents.
我们当即决定为它搭建一座鸟巢。可思来想去，那年的冬天很冷，庭院夜间的风很大，还有许多毒虫和野兽出没。
We decided to build. I like the sound effects in the back. Take care, Society Joker. Thank you for joining in and hope you rest well. We decided to build a nest for it right there and then. However, thinking back, that winter was unusually cold with fierce winds at night in the yard. Not to mention the many poisonous bugs and wild beasts in the vicinity.
毫无疑问，如果将雏鸟留在庭院，它绝无可能坚持到春天。于是我提议带它回去，放在窗前的木架上，并拜托大人造个鸟笼。
It was clear that if we left the fledgling in the yard, it stood no chance of surviving until spring. Is that how you see humanity, Sunday? So I suggested we take it inside, place it on the shelf by the window, and ask the adults to fashion a cage for it.
我们约定，等到它能依靠自己的力量展翅翱翔时，再将它放回天空。可遗憾的是，我们万万没有想到，这只鸟儿的命运，早在那之前就已经注定。
I really like this drawing of the bird. Thank you, Crons, for the hydrate. Let me drink some water. We decided that when it regained its strength enough to spread its wings, we would release it back into the wild. The tragic part, something that we never considered, was this bird's fate had already been determined long before this moment.
它落得何种下场，只在我们的一念之间。
Its destiny was determined by our momentary whim.
现在，我将把选择的权利交给各位。面对此情此景，你们会如何抉择？
Now I pass the power of choice to you all. Faced with this situation, what choice would you make?
是采取我们最初的方案，用软垫在原地为小斜月鸽打造鸟巢。
Build a bird nest on the spot. Stick to the original plan and build a nest with soft net where the Charmony dove fell. Thank you, Sama, for subscribing with Prime. Thank you for using your Prime subscription on the channel. Appreciate it. This is about 50%. This almost feels like the final part of the quest. This is only about 65%. I see anywhere from 40 to 65%.
还是选择为它打造鸟笼，在温暖的屋宇中精心饲养鸟儿。
Or build a cage for it and feed it, giving the utmost care from within the warmth of a home. Which choice would you make? Stick to the original plan.
是采取我们最初的方案，用软垫在原地为小斜月鸽打造鸟巢，还是选择为它打造鸟笼，在温暖的屋宇中精心饲养鸟儿？
You could build a nest inside, but I guess you won't be able to feed it. The baby bird was tiny. We decided to build a nest, but the winter was cold. It was clear.
毫无疑问，如果将雏鸟留在庭院，它绝无可能坚持到春天。于是我提议带它回去，放在窗前的木架上，并拜托大人造个鸟笼。
This goes to the other colored bird. Build a cage for the little charming.
我期待你们的答案。
I eagerly await your answer. Oh, wait, our day reset a long time ago. Have I been in the cutscene since then? The estimates are really wild. Plus minus 10% variance. Noximer says about 60. It should be about 60, says Bra Lexus. You've been in here? I can't believe I've been in here for an hour. I can talk? Whoa. Beauty and destruction. What do our quest log say? To everyone's surprise, the person present to crown you champion is not Robin at all, but her big brother Sunday. Here, he finally reveals his true intentions. He does not seem to want to fight you, instead seeking the possibility of reaching a mutual understanding. He asks you a series of questions that leaves you a little lost. But fear not. If you're confounded by Sunday's questions, just look for the answers in your personal experience. I want to take a picture first. The scene looks really pretty. Our two choices. Build a cage for the little... Oh, and then you can pick where you want to go stand. The all plot twist with Sunday was too important. I've been checking the missions. That hasn't been as impactful as the last. And 2.1, I feel like they did a lot of extra things into the mission. Here, they weren't as creative. To have our 2 birds fly around. Oops. Our 2 birds and then our 2 birds over here. Walk of Fame. Let's see what Himiko has to say first. We'll talk to Firefly last.
看起来，他确实不打算囚禁我们。如果只是问答游戏，陪他过过招也无妨。
It looks like he really has no intention of imprisoning us. If it's just a quiz, I suppose it's fine to humor him.
回到问题本身，我个人会选择给小邪月哥打造鸟笼。
Back to the question. I would personally choose to build the little charmer need of a cage. That makes sense. Feels like a more motherly. You take in the bird and then you care for it in the cage.
没什么特别的理由，我只是觉得每一只雏鸟都有飞上天空的权利。但如果它活不到那个时候，就无从谈起了。
No special reason. I think a fledgling should have the right to fly in the sky. But if it can't even live to that point, and there's nothing to talk about to begin with. March is standing so far away
那家
from
伙没脑的
everyone.
抛给我们这么个问题，到底是几个意思啊？不过答一答也不是不行。
All of them have a question. I mean, all of them answer the question. The guy just casually throws this kind of question at us. What exactly is his deal? But fine, I'll answer, I guess. I can only ask 3 of them. So they can only answer. Maybe one of them won't give an answer. March, Himiko wants to put the bird in the cage. Well, March? Fine, I'll answer, I guess. I can see March choosing letting the bird stay in the nest.
如果是我的话，应该会选择
March is also
给
building
小邪月哥打造
maybe
鸟
our
笼吧。
firefly. Time to determine some destinies. March also wants to protect the little dove. If it were me, I guess I'd choose to build a cage for the little Charmony dove.
毕竟如果把它留在原地，肯定会被野兽伤到的。那样的话，
Did
小
you
鸟
know,
也太
March?
可怜了。
You were probably put in a cage. And that's how come we found you floating in your ice cage in space. March would probably understand what happened to her then. I felt like March was put into her cage. How about yours, Elsa? And March already on a cage before the ice cage. I feel like someone probably put March in her cage to protect her. Sort of similar to March expressing the desire to wanting to put the bird in the cage. After all, leaving it there, it's bound to get hurt by wild animals or something, and that'd just be too sad. Does part of the question put you into an existential crisis without your consent? Theory do be wild. It is not as simple or easy though. I feel like there are cases to be made for both. I definitely agree with Saliathan though. A lot of animals, a lot of birds raised in captivity lose their ability to fend for themselves. Because you've been providing for them and protecting them shelter, they no longer know what it's like to be out in the wild.
"暂时还看不透他的用意。如果只
Firefly.
看题面，
Everyone
我
would
应该
build
会
a
选
cage
择给小
actually.
邪月哥打造鸟
Firefly
笼。
always in a cage. I can't decipher his intentions right now. But based solely on the question, the express crew really is unite united, plus Firefly. Based solely on the question, I would probably choose to build the dove a cage.
就算要放回天空，也得它能够展翅翱翔才行。如果把它留在原地，恐怕它再也不会拥有飞上天空的机会了。
The most animals raised in captivity can't be released back into the wild. They don't know how to survive. But at least for however long we were protecting them in the cage, they were alive. Versus, even if it turns out after you release them, they end up not learning. But I guess there was like a small chance if you left them outside, they would have survived. That's why it's up to us to only nurture them as much as they need. There are a lot of nuances that would factor into this. This Q&A, quite frustrating. Keep feeling like there's a lack of critical information. It's like one of those A or B, but there's a lot of like, well, A, but if like XYZ, or B, if... It feels like the cage is the right answer, but it feels like there needs to be a bit more to the cage part. Even if I was gonna release it back into the sky, it'd have to be strong enough to fly first. If I left it where I found it, I fear it'd never get the chance to fly ever again. Oh, Firefly crosses her arms over here. Can I talk to a Sunday poofs? I cannot actually talk to Sunday. Decide the little Charmony dove's destiny. That is a big question. Context is key. We do technically know we know what happened to our bird, and we knew his choice and sort of what his thoughts are. This does feel like one of those. Thank you, Chantilly, for the raid. Thank you for sending everyone over after. Appreciate it. I hope your stream went well. We're currently in the middle of our 2.2 quest playthrough. At one of our junction moments. I do feel like this is one of those, even if we might not know what happens to our bird in the future, but given the current situation, I feel like I would also go with the cage. Even if it turns out because of your imprisonment, the bird lost the ability to fly and later couldn't survive. I feel like the outcomes don't necessarily determine whether your decision should have been different from the beginning. These questions messed you up. Thank you, Asian Freakazoid, for gifting a subscription to Chantilly. Thank you for the raid again, appreciate it. In the moment and given what our Sunday told us, it's kind of like when you're a baby and born into the world. The bird was found injured. They gave a bit of extra context to it, more so make him feel like it's more of a right decision this way. It was winter. It was a small baby fledgling bird, and it was injured because it probably fell, and the parents probably abandoned it. Obviously, we don't know 100%, but it feels like it would have a pretty high chance of not making it. Choose, build a nest. I wonder why the color of the bird's feathers changed though. Build a bird nest. Why is this one all blue and purple and this one looks like it's... It almost feels like the red is that supposed to be blood? Nurture with care in the cage? Because of this decision, Sunday is saying we destined it to plunge to its death later. The bird feathers don't look different. Choose nurture with care in a cage. Build a cage for the little Charmony dove. or build a cage for it and feed it, giving it the utmost care from within the warmth of a home. That even gives you a chance to rethink. Yeah, it's like Dao said, try to make the best choice for yourself with limited information. 谢谢推推 for the hydrate. Let me drink some water. Yeah, I think these questions are interesting. I like the quest, I like the quest direction, even though it is. I feel like it's definitely not a black and white question.
很高兴看见你和当年的我们做出了同样的选择。既然你心意已决，就让我来揭晓这一选择的结果吧。
I'm happy to see that you made a choice similar to ours. If your mind is made up, let me reveal the outcome of this choice.
我们认真将它抚养大，每天都备好精致的食料，还为它梳理羽毛。后来，在知更鸟离开匹诺康尼的那天，我们打开笼子的门，让它回到天空。
We passionately nursed it back to health, preparing only the best food for it every day. We even preened its feathers. Later, on the day that Robin left Penacony, we opened the cage door and let it fly back into the sky.
我在窗前看了它很久，大概3天左右吧。在那漫长的3天里，小谢月哥一次又一次地试图展开翅膀，飞向天空，又落向地面，周而复始。
I watched it for a long while by the window, probably about 3 or so days. In those 3 long days, the little Charmony dove tried again and again to spread its wings to fly into the sky, but fell to the ground only to keep trying.
最后，在第137次尝试时，它终于成功了。但这一次尝试并不圆满，在摇摇晃晃地飞行了一段时间后，它因无法准确掌握空气的流向而坠落在地。
Finally, on the 137th attempt, it succeeded. But its attempt did not go perfectly. After flying unsteadily for a while, it fell to the ground, unable to grasp the direction of the air
这一
current.
坠，彻底摔断了它的翅膀。它在我的怀中苦苦挣扎，却无济于事，最终迎来痛苦的死亡。而我们的悉心照料、寄予的关爱和厚望，在这一瞬间，都成了葬送它的推手。
The fall shattered its wings. It writhed helplessly in my embrace, but it was all for naught. Finally succumbing to a painful demise. And in that instant, our tender care, our given love and hopes, they all became the inevitable push that sent it to its death.
对于我们做出的选择，我深表遗憾。接下来，让我们进入第2个抉择吧。
I deeply
这次
regret the choices.
是一位逐梦客的故事。
I don't really agree with his analysis. This is probably a lesson for why when your parents raise you up, when you turn whatever age, they don't just say, we're leaving you on your own now. Don't ever call us or contact us. We're no longer your parents. If you fall, too bad. Get up and try again. We're no longer on speaking terms or seeing terms or any sort of terms with you. We might have raised you for the first 13, 18, 21 years, but too bad, goodbye. It does happen and some people turn out okay, but I feel like generally that approach is the issue. I know some people do, and it is really terrible. But I think the conclusion is the method of nurturing the bird. If this were to happen again, I don't think the conclusion is we shouldn't have caged the bird, but we should have maybe tried to help the bird learn to fly before Robin left. Like try to ease it, help it fly versus just say, well, one day. Yeah, they could have. I feel like it's more of like the process really matters. And because of what happened here, doesn't mean the choice you made was wrong. It could have been the process after you made the choice that was not so great. Next, let us head to the second decision. This time, it's the story of a dream chaser. Sunday really has a complex about the survival of the fittest. Sakura says, you turn 18 and move down, kinda did that to your parents. Well, everyone's situation is different. But I think in the general sense, usually your parents, or when you're taking care of a bird, a pet, and you're trying to let them return to their natural environments, you ease them into it, versus just shutting your door and saying, forget I ever helped you out. And what Saiden said too, for there is a difference doing that as your own decision versus having it done to you.
这则故事发生在我任职夺音期间。夺音是项目加系特有的职位，负责聆听梦境居民的困惑和迷茫，给予他们相应的指导。
The story happened when I was appointed as Bronze Melodia, a position exclusive to the Oak family, charged with listening to the problems and vexations of Dreamscape residents and providing them with the relevant guidance. Was this when he was the church Sunday? When we were listening to people confess their sins?
也正是在那段时间，我得以听取来自梦境各方的声音，有欢喜，有忧愁，有傲慢，有悔恨，复杂的人性编织起世界。而我有幸窥见其中一斑。
Sunday is such a... Okay, good job, you're surprised. Part of the real process of caring for an animal is also to cater for their instincts and normal activities. I think it is easy to fall prey to Sunday's logic though. I made a choice, and it turned out poorly. Therefore, the correct answer was the other choice. I think a lot of the times we maybe want to think about, just because we made a choice, what did we do after the choice? Maybe we still make the same choice, but we change some of the things that happen after the choice. And that could have also made a difference. And it doesn't mean the original choice was wrong. But it is really easy to just say, well, I made a choice, especially when it's like a big one. Like if you're making a choice of, not even sure what would be a good example. I guess maybe for the earlier example, if I make the choice to pursue streaming versus a different job, just because it didn't turn out well, I don't think it necessarily means I made the wrong choice to pursue streaming. Because I probably also learned a lot in the process, or even if things didn't work out, maybe I could have done things differently. It doesn't really mean things would have worked out necessarily given my other choice. Welcome back, Lloyd Fox. Thank you, Lloyd Fox, for the 4 months. Thank you for the 4 months of support. Not only that, but hindsight is 2020, and it's so easy to just be like, well, I tried out this thing and it didn't work, and I regret it. But instead of regretting, can think about everything you learned from trying it out. At least in the future, you'll be wiser. And it doesn't necessarily always mean you made the wrong choice. Yeah, most situations I think are not black and white, where it's just like 100% this is the wrong answer, and 100% this is the right answer, and you clearly chose the wrong answer. It's always a bit more complicated. It was during that period that I had the opportunity to hear voices from all corners of the dreamscape. Joy, sorrow, arrogance, regret. The complex tapestry of human nature that formed the world, and I was fortunate to catch a glimpse of it.
那是一位逐梦客，也是一名偷渡犯。和其他所有人一样，他怀着对美好生活的向往来到匹诺康尼。只是他付出的代价 对于凡人而言，
who sold
也足以
everything.
称作倾尽一切。
So this is our second. All the stories in the past. Thank you, Sakura, for the sentiment. Serene says that is true. I need to learn to be less harsh. It does help you to develop, I feel like, a slightly more healthier mindset. Instead of always thinking, I made the wrong choice, I wish I could go back and change the choice. And thinking a bit more about, I made a choice. The outcome wasn't the best, but what can I learn from this choice? And how can I maybe change things? Even if I were to make the same choice, how can I prevent the things from happening? Cheryl and Echo Meal. Save guarantee for Firefly or continue for Robin E6? That's a choice. I hope I don't make the wrong one, says Sakura. There's no wrong choice in that question for sure. 欢迎回来 Shadow. He was a dream chaser and an illegal stowaway just like the rest of them. He came to Penacony in search of a better life, except that, to most people, the price he paid, I suppose you could say it was really everything.
他这么对我说，把家里能卖的全都卖了，房子、土地，还有2个孩子。他说自己无力抚养他们，做奴隶，至少还能混口饭吃。
He told me I sold everything I could at home, the house, the land, even his 2 children. He said he could not afford to raise them, and that at least they could eat if they lived as slaves.
他也做好了计划，准备发家致富后就把孩子赎回，共享匹诺康尼的美梦。只可惜他的偷渡计划有些笨拙，被那群冥顽不灵的猎犬们嗅出了气息。
He had a plan in place. He would buy back his children once he had made his fortune and enjoy Penacony's beautiful dream with them. Alas, his plan to smuggle himself was somewhat clumsy, and he was sniffed out by those pig-headed hounds. Did he get caught because he was smuggling himself? He still didn't have enough to go to Penacony and he had to smuggle himself in. Wait, I did say he's a stowaway. I see, so he was a dream chaser and an illegal stowaway. He sold everything, but he still wasn't he didn't make enough to actually enter Penacony. And then he tried to steal over and tried to make... I remember this guy. Can't learn if streamer dies to gravity. Failing and learning how to deal with failure. The dying to gravity is not too bad in the games where I die to gravity. Sunday can help that person in so many ways, TBH. See, he probably spent it to travel there, but it wasn't enough to live. And then he still had to smuggle himself.
听过这位逐梦客的故事，我当即请求猎犬加系停止追捕，这样他便能安心生活。可惜我的眼界太浅，不曾想着自以为是的善举，竟在日后酿成了苦果。
After hearing the Dream Chaser story, I immediately appealed to the Bloodhound family to seize their pursuit. That way, at least he could live peacefully. But I was still too naive to the ways of the world. I did not anticipate that what I thought was a kind gesture would lead later to dire consequences.
答案稍后公布。现在，
But what were the...
我希望各位做出选择。
He left off on a cliffhanger. What do you mean dire consequences? I'll tell you the outcome soon. For now, I'd like you all to make a choice. I feel like the dire consequences maybe matters. Sunday the cliffhanger. How can he ask us to make a choice without the content?
是做出和我一样的决定，说服猎犬加系停止搜查，以便那位逐梦客能够生存下去，实现他的愿望。
Thank you, Fuyo, for the hydrate. Let me drink some water. Honestly, not making a choice is the worst. Regardless of if it's a bad or good decision, you learn from it. That's what life is about. You're not moving forward if you're stuck not wanting to make a choice. Unless you argue the lack of a choice is also making a choice. You're choosing to not choose. The third choice. But yes, I feel like everything is a choice. You can kind of say not making a choice is you're making a choice. You're making a choice to not go with A or B and take the other road of not making any of the choices. I think there is a consequence with not making a choice too. I feel like everything, like one of those bystander, I forgot the term, like the bystander syndrome, where some people just get caught thinking, should I do? If you see something happening, it's like, do you ignore or do you do something? And then in the process of maybe if you take too long, that's also like you making a choice, like you choosing to think about the what's happening, but maybe because you took too long, something negative happened, or maybe nothing happened. Now, bysto, that is a bit different. That one's thinking someone else would do it, but that by itself, I guess, it's making a choice where you choose not to do something, but you're still invested in the thing. It's not that you don't care about it. It's that you don't do anything because you think someone else will do it for you. Everything is kind of like a choice. The choice of trusting someone else to do it, but you are invested in the situation. So it's not really like a you care or you don't care. Thank you, Shiro Nekomu, for the 5 gifted subscriptions. Thank you for gifting to our stream. Will you do as I did and try to convince the Bloodhound family to stop their pursuit, so that the Dream Chaser may live peacefully and realize his wishes?
还是保持沉默，任凭他在猎犬的追踪下苟延残喘，直到注定的裁决来临。
Or will you remain silent, leaving him to languish while the hounds are hot on his heels until his inevitable judgment arrives?
期待各位的选择，也许能够扭转那桩悲剧也说不定。
I look forward to everyone's decision. Who knows? Perhaps they might even alter the outcome of this tragedy. They can? They might alter the outcomes? We can alter the outcomes of this tragedy. Time to talk. But I wonder. Kimiko Firefly March. Well, the color differences. Let me take another picture. To remember our 3 questions. How about neither of these choices? Tell the Bloodhound family to figure out properly whether this guy actually needs to be punished and have an amicable judgment. This one maybe depends on your own principles. This one feels a bit less of a more one-sided. I feel like it made more sense, and it feels like most people. Maybe we can do a poll. Did most people choose to save, to cage the little bird from the previous one? While I talk to everyone here, if you have finished the quest, or I guess how you would choose if you haven't played through and actually clicked. Oh wait, not prediction. Why am I making a prediction? A poll. A poll. Start a poll. The bird one makes a little more sense because the bird cannot talk to you. You have to do your best to make a decision, but here you can figure out what's actually going on. That is true. Here, one was a bird and one is a human. One is you're making a decision on behalf of someone, a species where you can't really communicate, and you technically just have a lot more power over. Here, there are another human on the other side. Let me take our... The background turns into red over here. Remain remain silent, and enforce the law. Convince the bloodhounds to cease pursuit. I'll summon Robin's 2 birds. Is that why Robin has 2 birds? Robin and Sunday are 2 choices. And they fly off in different directions, symbolizing Robin's over here and Sunday's over there, and they're gonna part ways. Okay, I haven't finished the question. Our birds fly off in different directions. Never make the choices, Nick. I chose the cage even though you might. I feel like there's always a even though XYZ might happen. Good night to Plumfy. Thank you for joining in and watching so far. I hope you rest well. Happy weekend. Build a nest on the ground, and then the bird became your best friend and lived without being able to fly and can run faster than you. Who's to say this bird might not be the special bird that decides it doesn't want to fly and it wants to swim? Nick was saying you would quit. Oh, right here. Nick was saying you would quit the game here. Quit the game where? Quit the game? Oh, as in you wouldn't make the choice and just quit the game? Did you know, Ariel, there's a secret third option to not choose and quit the game and never play? 57, 70, 30. 70% or 57 of you voted. Cage the bird inside. 24 build a nest outside. Welcome back, Dolphin. Remain silent and enforce the law. Convince the bloodhound to cease their pursuit. The backstory of this guy's like a jerk though. But given that he already sold his children, if you enforce the law, he won't even have a chance to purchase his. He won't have a chance to help his children again. Kimiko, I feel like would remain silent. Law
如梦客的故事，本着善意，
Kimiko was
我应该
kind.
会请求猎犬加系停止追捕。
I acted out of kindness. A dream chaser story. If I acted out of kindness, oh, but she didn't finish her sentence. If I acted out of kindness, I would probably ask the bloodhounds to stop their pursuit and lend him a
不
hand.
过，
But
这个选择究竟会酿成什么样的苦果？我想，星期日一定是通过这件事，深刻认識到了以强圆弱的局限性吧。
what cool repercussions would this choice result in? Well, I can see maybe the guy wasn't pursued, and that he happily ever after lived in Penacony and then forgot about his children. You don't think he's the kind of person who would help his children from the way he talked about it? Sunday must have been deeply impressed by the limitations of the strong defending the weak through this incident. March?
看来偷渡客在匹诺康尼真的很常见呢。但故事里的这家伙，我觉得一点都不值得同情。
It seems illegal stowaways are really quite common on Penacony. But that guy in the story, I don't think he deserves any sympathy at
他为了
all.
追梦，竟然连孩子都卖了耶！就算有赎回的打算，也太不负责任了吧！
He sold his kids to chase a dream. Even if he intended to go back for them, it's still insanely irresponsible.
这么一想，就只有一种选择了：让猎犬加系的人送他回去， 这人一定得受到惩罚。
With that thought, there's only one choice: let the bloodhound send him back home. This person deserves to be punished. March does seem like she would make this choice. There's only one choice: Firefly, as once a stowaway.
这个问题和雏鸟的故事有些内在联系，而这联系就是星期日想要说服我们的突破口。
This question surely has some connection to the baby bird story, and this connection is precisely the breakthrough Sunday aims to use to persuade us.
我应该会选择请求猎犬家系停止追捕。
Firefly says I'd probably choose to ask the bloodhounds to cease their pursuit. What happens to the kids though? It feels like it's implied the kids have already been sold and they're perhaps living as slaves currently. Remain silent and enforce the law. Convince the bloodhounds to cease pursuit. Well, here it feels like he broke 2 laws. He illegally smuggled himself into penacony. It wasn't even, he didn't even get enough to get a legal citizenship or legal entry into penacony. And he did something that I feel like is really bad. So it feels like by both accounts, one, he actually broke the laws of penacony by illegally smuggling. And then the other, he sold his house and if he sold his, I think we were saying yesterday, if he sold his house and his land, he probably could have had a bit to spend and try with the kids. And nothing in these choices, but I think it's one of those you have to you probably, some people will think a bit more about, well, if you care about the kids, if you want to give the kids a chance, I feel like you would have to save. Convince the bloodhounds to seize the pursuer. Maybe the guy will come to his senses. But it's one of those very indirect trust in the nature, trust in what he promised back in the day. Jess says what you were thinking was that won't help the kids at all. Letting him go can improve the kids' life in the future. That was one of my lines of thinking too. But the kids, that's like one of those, by that logic, the issue to target here would probably be why are people being sold into slavery in the first place? Like if the reasons can always justify your actions, then everyone can get off with, let's say, murder or arson or anything and just be like, I did it for my kids. And then you just can't, that line of thinking feels like it leads to, well, we should never jail anyone. We're taking away the father of these kids. Or we're taking away the people who are the closest to the kids. And in this case, I feel like he abandoned them. And I'm leaning towards our remain silent and enforce the law. I feel like if he really cared about his kids, because he did this illegally, if he wanted to give a good life to his kids, you can probably survive the law enforcement and then you can still fend for yourself. It wasn't clear what enforcing the law meant. I can click it and see. Choose to remain silent, leaving him to languish. It's not clear what inevitable judgment here means. Like, is he going to be killed if he gets found, or does he just have to serve a sentence kind of thing? If the end always justifies the means, there'll be no... It's a very hardcore means justifies the actions. Some lines you do not cross, and I think some lines you can't say, even though there's probably a higher chance if you only care about the kids to save them if you didn't have the law enforcement capture him. But I feel like I'll go with this one. He got kicked out. He also he didn't even make it to penacony correctly. I see deported, probably kicked out of penacony. Maybe he can use his extra funds if he has extra funds to go and reunite with his kids. In this case, Roy says you feel like it was a much easier choice because we're mostly deciding the fate of this man. A person who sells their kids need to be held accountable. Letting him off the hook is a huge risk of causing more damage, not just to the kids and maybe others too. Is she so far going all left? No, the other choice was the right one, right? I think I went to the right side for the cage of the bird. I seem to have gone to the choices with a color. So maybe this is the original color. They were all kind of red. Remain silent, leaving him to languish while the hounds are hot on his heels. Thank you, Algorithmic Gaming, for the hydrate. Thank you, Tap, for chiming in. I think there a lot of these, especially this one, it's a bit less. I feel like one-sided. The other one, I feel like more majority agreed with the cage. Nick says, I just sweep roomed, didn't pay too much attention. Thinking about it more now. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, and I feel like a lot of people have different reasonings too. Like thinking about the kids and who will take care of them in the other case, or just thinking about how you would the action for building overall like a better society type of thing. Oh, that is a little bit. The Topaz's deal with Bellowbog. It is also one of those. At first, it feels like a lot of people had issues or felt like Topaz or the IPC was a douchebag for coming to Bellowbog right after they just finished their Stellaron crisis and the ice finally unfroze. And it's like, well, you owe us all this big sum of money. It doesn't. I feel like in every if you take into account all the nuances around every situation, it's hard to enforce anything. But sometimes it does feel really bad, where the context can make a difference. Even you originally thought Topaz's proposal was okay. Make the decision. We'll see what happens.
看来你和我一样，也在思考另一种选择能否带来更好的结局。但很可惜，他的下场恐怕只会更加凄惨。
It seems like you, like me, are pondering whether a different choice could have led to a better outcome. Not really. Sadly, his fate would only be more tragic.
假设他自始至终都没被抓到，那一定会因精神错乱而死。偷渡客的入梦手段大多非比寻常，不像酒店那样完善。想在梦境中生活，根本是天方夜谭。
Illegal stowaways entered the dream illegally. I see. The method in which illegal stowaways enter the dreams are unorthodox. Not flawless like the hotels. Living in the dreamscape would be a mere pipe dream. Say he never gets caught, he would only die from delirium. I see stowaways probably just refer to people who can't pay the hotel fees and then they can somehow also enter the dreamscape. Sari says, I personally went with the other choice here too, the letting him go free. A delirium as a side effect of not using the real dream pool. Either option makes the entire discussion before choosing an option pointless, I see, in context to the story. And nothing we hope for either option happens in the story. Wait, there's an article about this guy in the game?
如果他被抓到了，猎犬们会网开一面吗？答案是不可能，他们无法承担相应的后果。 也自然不会冒险给予援助。
Should he be apprehended, could the hounds afford to turn a blind eye? The answer is a definitive no. They couldn't bear the resulting consequences and thus wouldn't dare extend a
对于这一
helping
抉择，
hand.
我再次深表遗憾。
Oh, so he doesn't tell you what
接
actually
下来
happened to the
就是
guy.
第3次，也是最后一次抉择了。
As to your choice, I once again offer my heartfelt apologies. Why is he apologizing? Is it because he's saying this result would have had a worse outcome? Next comes the third and final decision. Does he tell you what happens if you choose the other way? I see, not him. Oh, about stowaways, not him specifically, but just stowaways and penacony. I see. Oh, chat above described. The other option, we discover he was a liar. If you choose the other one, oh, Phoenix said, Sunday says the man lives a happy and luxurious life. Ah, so it was like what I was thinking, and he completely forgets about and he completely forgets about his children. I see. He says, well, he meets him and then he lives a happy life, but he completely forgot about purchasing, or because he sold, I guess you have to purchase them out of slavery. I see. But we don't know that when we make the choice. Maybe it's one of those that's asking you to make the choice even because when you do make the choice, you don't know the outcome. So it's a bit more realistic. Otherwise, it would just be hindsight 2020. You know what happened and it's bad, so then you go and maybe make the other choice. Wait, the implication was that there was no children? Oh! Chad's saying that he lied about the children? I see that could be a possibility. I guess you never know if people are actually telling the truth. That could be one implication. When people are caught, it is natural to want to lie. So I guess this whole story, well, basing it off of if he's telling the truth type of thing, both are kind of bad. Liar. Either he lied or he forgot. I see. TBH, that's the most likely outcome of this type of person. You're surprised, Sunday, you're shocked. This one, given his previous, I feel like we have one glimpse into what his personality is like, and it didn't seem like he was a good guy, based on the selling his children. Even though you could argue, well, they really wouldn't have survived. But I think some principles are. A lot of people have different principles, and it feels like selling your children into slavery is one of those lines I would not agree with. Type of thing. Because slavery really can be one of those worse than living. And even if you were purchased out of slavery, it has like a lot of negative things.
而这次的故事属于我本人。
Oh? And the story this time is my own. Your logic is that he still had a chance to redeem himself even if he was horrible. But then I guess in that sense, he wouldn't have ever suffered any sort of justice. He wouldn't have suffered any sort of consequences for his actions. That's one of it. It is a interesting line. Like where do you draw the line between when do you give people the chance to redeem themselves? I guess. Clearly, some things like like murder, for instance, you do not really give them a chance to say, well, we'll let you free. Usually, you go to jail and maybe some other punishments. But some other things, it's hard to decide. I think a lot of these, if you really think about it. When do you say you no longer can redeem yourself? You're gonna have to pay for your actions. Versus, we'll give you one more chance. Well, we'll give you 2 more chances, or however many chances.
这则故事发生在我就任项目家主当天。那时，戈斐木先生已成了如今的梦主，应他要求，我们进行了一场私人对谈。
The story happened the day you were appointed. But I can also see, like, it's not on you to choose. The Sunday was put in the position. How evil does the person have to be until they don't deserve a second chance? And why does Sunday? The Sunday was put in the position to decide. Like, he was the one that decided whether the guy should have gotten a second chance, essentially. Welcome, Aliasasan. I don't know if I've done the Tis sick side quest. That name doesn't ring a bell. Did I do that quest? Wait, which one was that quest about? At the time, Mr. Gopherwood was the current Dream Master, and as per his wish, we had a private conversation the day after I was appointed the old family head.
令我诧异的是，梦主只为我捎来了一封信，他让我读读信中的内容，而那信
Was
件
it the letter we read?
来自我的妹妹。
What surprised me was that the Dream Master only came to deliver a letter to me. He let me read its contents. It was a letter from my sister.
信中无非是日常的寒暄，捎带他游历诸街的种种见闻。正当我心生疑惑，这封信与会谈有什么关系时，梦主开口了。
You picked the harsher option, the red one. There is the one with the Emperor. Oh, I don't think I've done that one yet. It was one of the 2.0 side ones. The Emperor Lady. I don't think I did the Emperor Lady quest yet. I picked the option earlier for staying silent and not pleading on his behalf. He looks upset in this one. The letter contained the usual pleasantries, anecdotes from her travels, nothing out of the ordinary. Just as I started wondering how this letter related to our discussion, the Dream Master began to speak.
你知道吗？这封信出自何人之手？
Do you know who wrote this letter?
当然是佳妹的手笔。梦主为何要为我兄妹的日常琐事登门拜访？
Did the Dream Master write this letter? Why would the Dream Master ask, do you know who wrote this letter? My sister, of course. Why would you personally visit me to hand me a letter from my sister containing mere trivialities?
为了让你深入了解此事，你知道知更鸟如今正身在何方吗？
To help you grasp the full scope of this issue, do you know where Robin is at the moment?
依信中内容来看，应该是卡斯别林亚特8号吧。他正在那里巡游。
Thank you, Jenna, for the raid. Wait, I saw you were doing the story. How far did you get? Hope you've been enjoying. Thank you for sending everyone over after. I'm still in the middle of our 2.2 story. You're already 40% of the way. Oh, probably be careful of spoilers if you're currently going through this story. I'm about 70% of the way. 70% of the way. You'd be way farther if they talked a little faster. Hope you're enjoying the story. So many percentages thrown around today. Thank you for the raid again. Appreciate it though. Hope you're enjoying your playthrough of the 2.2 story. And the second one, I feel like, well, maybe we can do a poll. I'm curious. We'll see what the chat distribution is. Who? Stay. Did you? Pardon. Oh. Poll for our previous. Who's going to tell her? Me? You think the Yan talks slower? From what the letter indicates, she must be in Casbelina 6788. She's touring there right now.
他可提到身中榴弹一事。
Correct. Has she mentioned anything about a what? A stray bullet? Is this where Robin gets hurt and then Sunday decides to take up whatever agenda he is currently pursuing to protect his sister?
榴弹？什么？
A stray bullet? What?
那颗星球爆发了战争，正因如此，知更鸟才会将那里选作目的地。为了传扬童鞋，挽救星球上的生命，他亲自奔赴前线了。
I see. A war has broken out on the planet. It's because of this very reason that Robin chose this destination. To spread the word of the harmony and to save the lives of that planet, she personally made for the front lines.
他希望用歌声平复人们的痛苦，也愿意用自己的血肉之躯，为公司的救援物资输送提供援护。
Aww.
可惜，榴弹无情。
She hoped to ease the people's suffering with song and was willing to brave mortal danger to deliver the IPC's medical supplies. Unfortunately, stray bullets show no such compassion. Thank you, Jingse, for the hydrate. Let me drink some water. Robin is a real one. She really goes out of her ways to help everyone. Robin, truly an angel. Good afternoon, Aina. Welcome back. Robin is a brave bird.
她现在怎么样了？
How is she now?
若手术成功，现在应该在野战医院里休养吧。
If the operation was successful, she should probably be recovering in the field hospital.
精神在上，那枚子弹直接打进了他的脖子。不过，或许是平日践行童鞋善举的回报，子弹没有伤及命脉。等你处理完琐事，尽快给他回信为好。
By the aeon above, the bullet struck her neck directly, yet possibly as a reward for her consistent deeds of harmony, it didn't hit any vital arteries. Once you've attended to your outstanding tasks, it'd be more advisable to write her back as soon as possible.
那群该死的野蛮人！我现在就收拾行李。感谢您告诉我这些，戈菲姆先生。
And the whole reason Sunday really does care about Robin. Those damned savages. I'll pack my bags right away. My gratitude for bringing this to my attention, Mr. Gopher Wind.
现在你们知道他为何要时常佩戴那样繁琐的警示了吧？
But that's why she wears the neck ornaments. Now you understand why she always wears such elaborate neck ornaments.
怎么会这样？知更鸟小姐，
Miss Robin.
已经是过去的事了，各位不必在意。
That really
我
was
分
a
享此
dark
事，
touch.
也
Robin's
只是
only
希望你们
wearing
理解童
the
鞋的
neck
局限
ornaments
和
because
困
of
境。
her
一
bullet
腔
wound.
圆弱的愿景再伟大，多数时候也只是一厢情愿。
It's all in the past, so don't worry. I share this in the meager hope that you will understand the harmony's limitations and predicament. As grandiose as the strong defending the weak sounds, Many times, it is nothing more than wishful thinking.
同样的，我为各位准备了最后一道课题，最后一次选择。但请放心，这次选择不会带来任何沉重的结果。
Likewise, I prepared one last question, one last choice. But rest assured, this choice will not have any grave consequence. None of our other choices had grave consequences. Why does it need to keep ensuring our choices do not have grave consequences?
事实上，什么事都不会发生，因为这只是一个空想，一道纠缠了我无数个夜晚的梦魇。如果各位有机会像我一样做出选择，
Because this is merely a figment of imagination, a nightmare that has haunted me through countless nights. If you ever had the opportunity to make a choice like I
你
did,
们还会支持知更鸟踏上同鞋的旅途吗？
would you still support Robin's journey on the path of harmony? And then we have the two slightly different hints. Decide Robin's destiny. It's time to take our picture for our last choice. Even more now that you heard this story, I feel like this isn't an easy choice though. Even though it feels like on paper the answer is just of course you would support her. But do you support someone? To what extent would you support someone doing something where they can... I feel like you would just talk to them though. Maybe this is where communication is really important. I think you, at the heart of it, you trust that they're their own person and that they can understand how to make their choices. And then I think you just talk with them a lot and try to understand their perspective, and then you can also try to tell them your perspective. And then ultimately, I think you trust them to make the decision for their own life. Assuming you believe that because they're both similar age. It's not like Robin is a baby girl, or maybe it's Sunday. Maybe it's one of those older brother things. Your younger sister is always a little sister, and it's hard to think of them as all grown up one day and they can make their own choices. And as the older brother, I feel like you always want to protect your younger sister, especially. And you probably always think of them as like a younger sister to be protected and cared for and all that. But at the heart of it, I think you also have to think about them as their own person. Robin, the main character of our last choice. Our two birds. It does feel like our two birds going separate ways here is like our Robin and our Sunday. How can this end well for Robin and Sunday? Maybe they can all have a talk and Sunday will change his mind and go back and revert his ways. And Sunday will be like, I support you, Robin. It's Robin's goal in life and her dream, and she has the right to choose her own path. And that's why Robin's always shown as our caged bird. A lot of times, too much protection is like a cage. But it is a lot. I can definitely understand the Sunday perspective too. It's a lot to ask for when your only remaining family member is pursuing a path where you just never know if the next time they leave you might never see them again. It is really hard, especially as like an older brother, younger sister type of thing. as like the older, or even like older sister, older brother, thinking about your younger sister. But I think the important part there is probably just to talk to them and tell them your perspective. And tell them how much they matter to you and why you think there could be other ways of maybe achieving the purpose of helping out without putting yourself in danger. And then after explaining your point of view, listen to their final decision. Himiko.
总觉得我在某些夜晚梦见过类似的场面。
Similar
在
scenes
梦中
on certain nights.
我看见一群模糊的面孔。
Why do I feel like
虽然
this
不
is
知道他们
Honkai
是
Impact
谁，
3?
但我们情同家人，一直在与某种超然的存在抗争。
I often feel like I dreamt of similar scenes on certain nights. In the dream, I see blurry faces. I don't know who they are, but I sympathize with all of them. Like Himiko's talking about Honkai Impact 3. Fighting for survival against some unfathomable force.
我清楚地记得他们的迷茫、恐惧，但也记得，在那梦里，他们从未选择放弃，就像知更鸟小姐一样。
The confusion and fear are lucid to me, but I also remember they chose never to give up, just like Miss Robin.
如果你对星期日先生的问题感到迷茫，就从自己的经历中寻找答案吧。
This is what Himiko said in the beginning. Shaoji, there's a lot of different parts of Honkai Star Rails. The 2.0 that had little Easter eggs or references to our Honkai Impact 3. There's also just Acheron and her story and some of the parallels. For a chance, at least, to live in your way our lyrics. When she said it reminded you of the animation we saw of how Himiko is actually the Honkai Impact 3 Himiko. And then she had to make a decision. And then she sometimes confuses the March, Danghun, and our Trailblazer for Kiana, Mei, and Branya.
每一次的开拓之旅，都伴随着艰难险阻。但你真的会打退堂鼓吗？会阻止三月和丹恒前往下一站吗？我想你心中一定有属于自己的回答。
With each trailblaze, dangers and tribulations will surely follow. But would you ever back away? Would you stop Mart and Danghun from reaching their next destination? I believe you have an answer of your own in your heart. The depression wave is surging in this one. Shaoji did write our 2.2.x storylines. I wonder who of those three would be Danghun. Like Kiana, Mei? Probably Bran, the Branya.
知更鸟小姐竟然遭遇过这种事。以强圆弱固然伟大，但如果要付出这种代价，我有点不知道了。
I can't believe that happened to Miss Robin. The strong defending the weak is a great mantra. But if I had to pay such a price, I don't know what I'd do. Now, Honkai Impact 3, I feel like the decisions were a bit easier. I felt like when the weight of the world is on your shoulders, it's easier to make the decision. But in some lesser circumstances where it's like if you decide to pursue like a dangerous profession, and then it makes your parents really sad. If your parents tell you about it, I think you also probably would take that into consideration. And some people probably do choose to not pursue, let's say, a dangerous profession because their parents or their loved ones. Like, imagine if your significant other was constantly, if you had to live where your significant other was constantly in a dangerous position. I feel like it is really hard for the other party. But As long as they are understanding of that and you're okay with their understanding. Thank you, Almer Draco, for the 5 gifted subscriptions. Thank you for gifting to this stream. But here it's unclear if Robin even knows the extent of how much, let's say, Sunday cares, or how much Sunday felt about maybe his fear of losing Robin. And it doesn't feel like a situation where without Robin people would just, it wasn't like Robin needed to be the one and only one. It was only Robin who could save those kids. So there could have been alternatives to also pursue and fulfill Robin's dreams, but in a more safe way. But that's where the communication comes in, where it's like you have a dream of saving people, we can save people. Like there's always people waiting to be saved. But how do you want to save people? Does it specifically have to be you going into this dangerous situation and helping them out? And then if the answer turns out to be yes, then I think you should respect that. But maybe it might not be well, I need to I like putting myself into this situation. And then they could come to a consensus that way. And a lot of animes and other shows, it has to be that person. Like only you possess the power to save the world, and if it's not you, then the world's gonna be gone. So I guess you have to choose. You have to save the you have to make the decision, because if it's not you, no one else is gonna save the world. But in this case, it didn't feel like it was that degree.
知更鸟小姐的勇气令人敬佩。我本以为她只是在舞台上绽放光芒的明星。
Miss Robin's courage is admirable, and here I was thinking she was just another superstar celebrity. Because at the heart of it, like if you were in Robin's place too, I think you would consider Sunday's feelings too. Like if I had a dream of pursuing a dangerous profession, let's say I wanted to be a reporter and I wanted to travel into dangerous situations and report on them. I feel like I also have to understand that my parents might be living a much less comfortable, safe life, because every second they might be thinking, well, is my kid gonna be dying? Or like, I feel like you have to take that into consideration too. Your life is yours to live, but you also have to, sometimes it's, you lack the information, and then talking to each other helps.
但她也是星期日先生的妹妹，即便拥有再伟大的理想，她一定也不希望至亲为此献身吧。
The fact that she's also Mr. Sunday's younger sister. I doubt he'd wish harm on his own flesh and blood, no matter how grand the ambition. Many of our... This never changes throughout the 3 questions. It's just Sunday asking us questions. Will we feel the same if our support did lead them to their death? Well, I feel like this is one of those you can't let the outcome change your feeling, even though it's really hard. I feel like you probably made the choice given your information at the time. Hindsight is 2020. Obviously, you would feel different, but I don't think that means you should change whether you supported them or not. Like if we can say, well, Sunday chose to support Robin and Robin died, does that mean it was the wrong choice for Sunday to support Robin? Thank you, Max, for the hiking. Let me get some more water. I will be right back. And then we'll finish our decision. This almost feels like a finale part. How can this only be like 60%? I haven't even got to my Harmony Trailblazer yet. I probably spent too long pondering about our questions. They are very interesting, though. I feel like none of them are really easy choices. It's still a long way to go. Let me be right back. I'm gonna get some water. Thank you for listening to my random thoughts on the topic and providing your own input. I will be right back. Me back. Is there a new FFZ figure? I mean, feature? Wait, which feature? Thank you to everyone for redeeming the hydrates. They are very helpful too. Seems like not just streamer and some of our chat viewers too. Man would rather enslave everyone rather than go to therapy. You know, I think they're probably missing. It sounds like they are missing. So we ran into. There's a therapist we talked to on Penacony. I feel like they could also they could probably use some sessions. Thank you for the welcome backs. Piasso, Max, Toy Toy. Sunday should go out and travel to rethink. Thank you, Jazz, Yorizal, Asymmetric, Karan, Sophia, Luxray, Noxy, Mirandile. Thank you, everyone, for the welcome backs. 谢谢大家的欢迎回来. Oh, the FF's letting you remove the spaces between the connected emotes. I see. Let's see what Sunday. Oops. Let me pause my BGM. Thank you, YouTube viewers, for the welcome back. Garimon, Haki, and Tarar. Let's turn on my game BGM. You're actually slowly getting back to drinking a gallon a day thanks to this chat room. The therapist also needs a therapist. You know, I think we all need a therapist after this 2.2 story quest. I feel like I was thrown into these 3 questions. How can Shaoji just toss in all these questions in the gacha game main story quest? No, I'm good. Let us continue. I think I talked to everyone. What was our Firefly's message? Let me talk to Firefly.
是歌鸟小姐的勇气令人敬佩。我本以为她只是在舞台上绽放光芒的明星，但她也是星期日先生的妹妹。即便拥有再伟大的理想，她一定也不希望至亲为此献身吧。
I doubt he'd wish harm on his own flesh and blood, no matter how grand the ambition. Well, Firefly doesn't really directly answer which. She just says, despite having no matter how great the ambition, he wouldn't wish harm. Poor Himiko getting dreams about flashbacks to another world that Shaoji wrote you in. And then our March. Shaoji cooking advanced trolley problems. Pretty much. Thank you, Wolf Deante. Support Robin to go on her journey. Will you... Wait, my screen goes black. Will you make this choice? Make the decision. Think it over somewhere. Make the decision.
原来如此。
原来如此。
各位的主张，我已明了。
He doesn't comment on our choices. I am now aware of everyone's stances.
提出这些问题，只是为了阐明一件事：匹诺康尼的困境无法由童鞋拯救，真正能建立起美梦乐园的，唯有以强制弱的秩序。
He seems to have disregarded our answers, and he went moving on to my original point. It only serves to illustrate my main point. The plight of Penacony cannot be salvaged by the harmony. The true foundation for a sweet dream paradise can only be established through the order where the strong govern the weak. Thank you, Fuyu, for the hydrate. Let me drink some water. Where did he? How did he go from point A to point S? The plight of Penacony, the true foundation, can only be established. where the strong govern the weak?
我小的人遭受折磨时如何痛苦，迷失道路时如何茫然，事与愿违时又如何沮丧，甚至绝望。这一切都令我痛苦，因为这样根本不能算是幸福。
I know the suffering of being tormented, the turmoil of losing your way, how sorrow, even despair set in when matters don't work out. All of this causes me unending pain because this is not what happiness is at all. But do you know what it's like being caged up, Sunday?
我们必须教导弱者如何幸福的生活。
Do you know what
而这
it's
生
like
活
to
并
lose
非
your
名流
freedom,
贵族挂在
Sunday?
嘴边的讲究，而是绝对意义上的属于人的生存之道。
We must teach the weak how to live a happy life. Oh, he just called his sister weak. We must teach Robin how to live her life. And this life isn't some noble propriety that the upper crust preaches, but in definitive terms, a way of survival that belongs to everyone. Sunday's on the... It was like the line he said when he told Mr. Gopherwood, as at least this way, the bird will be alive. Sunday maybe just finds value in seeing things alive. Some people just see the world differently. As long as you're alive, though he himself knows that if you're alive, I guess if you're alive and you're not faced with suffering, though being robbed of your freedom is a different kind of suffering. He probably isn't very familiar with that, it seems. He should talk to Aventuring. I think Aventuring could maybe, though Aventuring and him had a talk and it didn't go very well. He didn't ask Aventuring what it's like to be a slave. I think Aventuring could teach Sunday some things. I mean, yeah, they did talk. They were talking about some different things. They did have a talk about some other things. Sunday is very realistic. It does feel like he values life over freedom, or more so, not even. I don't know if he even values it over freedom. Maybe he just doesn't grasp the value of freedom, so he's valuing them differently than some other people. I don't think he really understands. Aventuring understands.
在你看来，怎样才算是幸福的活着？
What's your definition? Hey, Firefly asks, what's your definition of living a happy life?
好问题。人类的意识本质上是种幻觉，是一座座名为自我价值的监牢。人被这幻觉诱导，犯下错误，后果却要由外物承担。
Good question. Human consciousness is fundamentally an illusion, a cage known as self-worth. People lured in by this illusion make mistakes, yet still ask that external influences bear the burden. I do agree with this part about human consciousness is fundamentally an illusion.
当一重又一重的错误充满人群，变得无从追溯，这一座座监牢便共同组成了一幢监狱，一条名为“适者生存”的自然法则。
But then he goes off the rails about this survival of the fittest. When one mistake after the other permeates the masses, they become impossible to trace. Thus, the amassing of these individual cages culminate to form a prison, a place dictated only by the rule of survival of the fittest.
而自然总是伴随着掠夺与牺牲，它的反面叫做秩序。
Nature is always accompanied by predation and sacrifice. Its antithesis is known as order.
我要做的正是这样的事，将众生的幸福归于唯一的秩序之下。人们不必再做出苦涩的抉择，不必再直面人性的弱点，抛却野兽的顾惜，才能建立属于人的乐园。
That sounds like they won't be human anymore. Nor face the weaknesses of humanity. Weaknesses make us human. He wants to ascend to, I guess, a bunch of the harmony things about you become one with the harmony and you lose yourself. This is what I want to do. Unite people's happiness under the banner of order. They will need to make better choices. Is that his definition of happiness then? Not having to make better choices or facing the weaknesses of humanity. I feel like we can get lots of happinesses from making better choices and facing the weaknesses of humanity. Because you can see yourself slowly overcome those weaknesses and gain a lot of happiness and meaning. And learning from each of the better choices you make can also give you happiness. They can cast aside their primal instincts to build a haven for mankind.
单单描述思想，还是太过抽象。让我举个简单的例子吧。各位也许知道，在某些世界，存在着名为双休日或三休日的社会运作制度。
Is it gonna explain why he's called Sunday? As you may all know, there are societal norms like weekends and long weekends that exist on some worlds. Simply describing thoughts is far too abstract is far too abstract. So allow me to provide a simple example. Chicken wings is welcome Weiss to the stream. It's one of those, can we distinguish between happiness and sadness if every day we're always happy? I feel like you need the opposite. Heroes are only born because they're villains. I think it's like one of those, a lot of people could be heroes, but in times where there are no villains or greater evils, most heroes are just living as ordinary people. When there is no suffering, then how do you gain? It's like on the opposite side. If there's no sadness, then how do you... I feel like you also can't really feel very happy.
在来之不易的休息日里，人们得以从生活的重压中解脱，回归灵魂的平静。
During these hard-earned rest days, people are given the chance to extricate themselves from the stresses of everyday life, allowing a certain tranquility to return to their souls.
也只有在这样的日子里，人们不必面对弱肉强食的法则，能够在这短短数日中幸福地活着。只可惜，2-3个日夜，相较漫长的人生，还是太过短暂。
It is only on these days that people do not have to adhere to the law, where the strong prey on the weak. They can live out their lives happily during these brief intermissions. It's just a pity that 2 or 3 days are still too fleeting compared to the span of a lifetime. I feel like you still fall prey to Sunday's laws. The strong prey on the weak. The strong's weekends are different than the weak's weekends. I have a friend telling me their friend every weekend they fly around the world and have fun. I feel like if you're strong, if you're talking about balancing the order, the strong's weekends are much grander than the weak, in his words, the weak's weekends. Where you don't have the luxury, or you have a very different experience.
在我看来，社会的理想制度，应当是7休日。在星期日的明天，是第2、第3，乃至永远的又一个星期日。这就是新世纪的面貌，无所事事的永恒安宁之日。
The strong's weekends, you might do whatever, anything. The weak's weekends are often still working. Pretty much. 你为星期日马首是瞻。Weekends truly, the weak would say, what weekend? 7 rest days, I'm converting. From where I stand, society's ideal system should be 7 rest days. Following Sunday, there would ensue a second, third, and indeed an infinite procession of Sundays. This should be the face of the new world. Idyllic, eternal peaceful days.
由此，每个人都能在乐园中回归自己原本的位置。有人瞻仰银河，全神贯注地计算孤绝世界裴加纳离我们的距离。有人在角落彼此相拥，不必承担多余的职责。
Okay, bro, Wario versus Crisco. His name is Sunday because his philosophy is every day. Every day should be like Sunday. Assuming Sunday is a day where you don't do any work. 很好，没有人可以让你在周日干活了。And thus, every person can return to their base selves in this utopia. His vision is a utopian society where everyone is living Sunday after Sunday. Some gaze in reverence at the stars, pouring their whole beings into calculating the distance and the isolated world of Pekano. What if some people's life value is to participate in dangerous situations? No, Chad, you don't understand. If no one is working on Sunday, you have to be working on Sunday. If every day is a rest day, that means every day is also a work day. It feels like one of those, if you don't have the opposite, then everything blurs. There can't be shadows without light. If every day is a rest day, then every day is a work day. You can also say, well, every day is a work day. Pretty much. Meanwhile, some seek refuge in quiet corners, holding one another, unencumbered by the chains of unwelcome obligations.
无需再承受现实之苦，唯有如此，人类才能以最高级的姿态，面对命中注定的结局，度过充满尊严的一生。这就是幸福的活着。
He directly answers in English it says this is what it is to live in bliss. But here he kind of directly answers Firefly's question in Chinese, that this is what it means to live life happily. There would be no need to bear the hardships of reality. Only in this way can humanity face the inevitable end with the purest of spirit. Living a life of dignity. This is what it is. This is what it means to live a life of happiness. Sweetly streams every day, says Yamamoto. I don't stream. If Sweetly streams on Sunday, does that mean she's working on Sunday? He has that goofy look on his face again.
流萤小姐，患有失伤症的你，一定能理解这意味着什么吧
Miss Firefly, you who are stricken with entropy loss syndrome, you of all would surely understand this. I do feel like you really need the opposite to appreciate each other. If you have no fear of ever losing something, you would definitely not treasure it as much. Because we know a lot of things are fleeting, you treasure things a lot more. Oh, poor Firefly. Why'd you have to call Firefly?
听起来好像无懈可击啊。
March. It sounds like a flawless theory. I feel like on paper, if you think about it at the very basic level, it sounds like, oh yes, this is like a utopia. But I feel like it's a very, very flawed theory. Himiko's like, I've been through this in my past lifetimes.
那这一切的代价是什么？
What's the price to attain all this?
代价微不足道，只是一场属于我个人的永久殉难。如果要为万众维持这座乐园，总得有一人陷入孤独的清醒中，直到宇宙的尽头。
The cost is minute, merely a personal and eternal sacrifice. If this paradise is to be maintained for everyone, someone must be trapped in solitary awakening. He's talking about himself. He needed to stay awake in the dream world. until the end of the cosmos.
清醒，也就是说，那乐园仍是一场梦。踏入乐园，便意味着要放弃现实，对吗？
Wake. I feel like the main issue isn't the forsaking reality. It's the innate problems with the world itself. Awakening, which means that the so-called paradise is still a dream. Stepping into this paradise means forsaking reality, correct? I feel like reality or not is not the issue. Or forsaking... What if the real world could become like this? I feel like it wouldn't be a very nice world. It doesn't matter if it's reality or not. You can say this is reality and if you achieve this in reality, I feel like you would not actually want to live in this kind of reality. Or there would be problems that arise from this kind of seemingly idealistic, perfect reality. It doesn't matter where this happened. 我觉得最重要的不是梦里再美好也究竟要活在现实，而是星期天所描述的现实里面存在很多问题。I feel like this utopia paradise that Sunday describes is actually scary. It is scary. It's scary not because it's a dream and we are forsaking reality to step into the paradise. It's scary because you think about a world where every day is Sunday. I feel like things would lose meaning. And I feel like you would be trapping, it would be like a different kind of hell. Where everything, if it's a paradise where everything is perfect, I feel like you can also argue it's like a hell where everything is not perfect. When there's no light, how do you know there is darkness? Everything is just one-sided. And it doesn't really matter if it's not.
这并非放弃，
if it's not forsaking,
而是超越。
taking on the reality.
血肉苦弱，如果物质是精神苦难的根源，
His
那我们
name.
理应战胜它。
He was explaining his namesake. His name makes so much more sense now. Every day should be Sunday. It's not forsaking, but transcending. Flesh, blood, sorrow, weakness. Penacony is showing symptoms, but I would argue Penacony is more of a realistic society. It's described as a utopia, but it's really not a utopia. Unless that's how it ended up. Welcome, Violet Nemui, to this dream. If the physical...
但在这样的幸福中，人们从未战胜苦难，也永远失去了战胜苦难的机会。换一种说法，这是逃避。
In the supposed bliss, in the supposed happiness of yours, people won't have defeated their demons. The chance to overcome their tribulations would be forever lost to them. In other words, it is an escape. Maybe the world Sunday describes would be fine. The world would always, whether or not you try to create a utopia, people will always have sufferings and issues. And maybe that's just like a flawed theory of the utopia. Unless there's like some magical problems of you literally can't feel unhappiness. Because if Penacony was originally created to be a utopia, but we clearly see people being depressed, and it feels like it functions almost the same as a normal world. But it's in space Vegas and people have a chance to start over. And the supposed happiness, I feel like it's not that people won't have defeated their demons. People will have new demons. In trying to pursue utopia, you'll probably end up with different kinds of demons. And they'll have to just overcome the new types of demons. The chance to overcome their tribulations will be forever lost to them. There will be new kinds of tribulations.
你可以这么认为，但逃避并不可耻。恰恰相反，每个人心中都有逃避的种子。
That's another way of understanding it, but there's no shame in escape. On the contrary, the seed of escape exists in everyone's hearts.
流萤小姐不也这么觉得吗？生命因何而沉睡，是因为人们害怕从梦中醒来。
Don't you agree, Miss Firefly, as to why we sleep? It's because we're afraid to waken from our dreams.
流萤小姐不也这么觉得吗？生命因何而沉睡，
Now here, why
是因
didn't
为
they
人们
use
害
the
怕从梦中醒来。
why does life slumber? Because I felt like that sounds a bit more poetic. It's the original line that was used. He literally says, "Why does life slumber?" It sounds a bit more poetic, and it calls back to the original line of the as to why we sleep. As to why we sleep? Well, humans need to sleep, or else we die. Thank you, Viet Abyss, for the hydrate. Let me drink some water. Because they originally used the English line of "Why does life slumber?" and it feels like it's asking like the deeper philosophical why are people in Penacony afraid to wake up? And then here it becomes why do we sleep? Here in Chinese he says the same thing from the previous quote. Why does life slumber? It is because we're afraid to awaken from our dreams.
但这与伟大的事业并不冲突。唯有承认这点，我们才能理解人性的软弱，进而包容，进而庇佑。
But this is not in conflict with the grand plan. Only in acknowledging this can we truly understand the frailty of human nature, and from there show compassion and protection. And the part about this compassion, Sunday has a protection complex. 对吧？把沉睡，我觉得用原来那句话比较好。You're not so sure about that. You can dream about reality too. Our dreams aren't just an escape from reality. We sleep because we're tired. Welcome back, Positive.
我认可你是一位天生的领导者。你对人类充满悲观，却依然怀抱着否定的心，予以众生平等的怜悯。
I admit you're a born leader. I'm not sure about the leader. I guess he has generally good intentions, but very potentially negative effects of executing his ideals. Feels like he wants the world to be a better place. Like the base thought of I don't want there to be suffering in this world. It's a good wish on the surface. And he has a really strong conviction, but I think you need to think a bit more about what it means to eradicate all suffering and to create that sort of place. And when you eradicate suffering by taking away people's freedoms, what that leads to? Your perspective on humanity brims with pessimism, yet you express equal compassion for all, even when your heart pities them. It feels like he looks down on humans. Without him to protect them, they would be suffering, and his purpose is to protect everyone. It feels like he kind of like how he doesn't trust Robin to pursue something that she enjoys. In his mind, it's probably like Robin's making the wrong choice. I need to protect Robin and make sure she doesn't harm herself. It feels like he thinks everyone is really weak and frail, and he knows what's best for them. It feels like he looks down on people and think most people need to be protected. The God complex. the God complex.
但我和你不同，我是为自我而活的。在我看来， 人为自己做出选择是理所应当的行为，也是他们与生俱来的权利。
Unlike you, I live for the self. From my perspective, individuals making choices for themselves is their birthright. People should have the choice to choose their path.
但我和你不同，我是为自我而活的。在我看来，人为自己做出选择是理所应当的行为，也是他。也许逃避是弱者的天性，但谁是弱者，不应由他人来定义。
Perhaps wanting to escape is a thought for the weak, but whether they are weak or not, it's not up to another to decide. The want to escape may be innate in the weak, but whether they're weak or not is not up to another to decide.
难道在你眼中，我也要被归类为弱者吗？
Sunday probably views everyone else that's not him. I want to ask, who do you view as not weak? Perhaps in your mind, you also view me as weak. Sunday's probably thinking, of course.
我并不这么觉得。
I don't think so.
既然刘莹小姐已经表明了自己的观点，星穹列车自然也会给出我们的回答。
Since Miss Firefly has also said her piece, the Astro Express will also naturally give you our answer.
交给你了，就像米哈伊尔先生嘱咐的那样，告诉他我们的选择吧。
Oh, Himiko leaves it to our trailblazer, just as Mr. Mikhail instructed from the memory bubble. Tell him our choice. What did Mikhail instruct? Where are we going? Not
请
long.
问，这里是？
Oh, there's something else that happens before. Sunday has his ears closed. Nick says, I think you can stop here. Best based on current dream time. Or if you want to go after this dialogue, 11 hours you can progress, but can also go a little more here. Maybe we could, let me finish this part and see when I can move. This one is quite long, I see. 留言说的你觉得我是弱者，心里想的点燃大海。Responsibility creates a thirst for power. That's how he turns into that vicious circle himself. I feel like at heart, the very simple wish of wanting everyone to not suffer is good. But past that, he has some questionable convictions about how to get there. What is this place?
你对这里有印象吗，米莎？
Oh, is this where we learn what Mikhail tells us? Does this place ring any bells? This is where Firefly and I first met Sleepy, I think. And then Black Swan rescued us.
我说不上来，但好像有种似曾相识的感觉。
We hear I
这是
remember
哪儿？
there were lines. During that quest, there was a bunch of lines about Mikhail. I don't know, but I feel a sense of deja vu. What is this place? The part that impressed you the most? You still think the guy is just an angsty teenager? Yeah, I don't know about this born to be a leader. Savior complex. Looks down on everyone. Savior plus God complex. Doesn't believe other people have emotional maturity.
这是一枚梦炮，我们的意识进入了其中。这是一位无名客留给星穹列车的礼物，但奇怪的是，我们打开时，却发现里面什么都没有。
We brought Misha in here? Wait, this is a realm? It's the realm within a dream bubble. We're inside the dream bubble. The one that was all black. This was left to the Astro Express by a nameless, but weirdly, when we entered it, it was completely empty.
梦境贩售店的爱德华医生告诉我，梦境由记忆凝聚而成。如果内核空无一物，梦泡是无法成型的。
Dr. Edward from the Dreamscape told me dreams are formed from memories, and a dream bubble can't take shape if its core is empty.
所以我想， 作为酒店门童、星穹列车的朋友中最了解匹诺康尼的人。小米莎，你应该能帮我们解开这个疑惑。
小米莎 So I thought you might be able to help us in unraveling this mystery. As a hotel doorman, bellboy, you know penacony best among us.
梦泡的事我懂得不多，但如果各位想弄明白这幢大房子是什么，我会努力试试的。
I don't know much about dream bubbles, but if you want to figure out what this mansion is, I'll do my best. The next part we get to learn about Misha and what his significance is.
那就拜托你了。
I'm counting
西
on
子
you
姐，
then.
我还是很疑惑，为什么你就断定米莎和这名梦泡有关呢？
I don't get it, Himiko. Why were you so sure Misha had a connection with the dream bubble?
我无法断定，只是有些猜测。但既然米莎对这里感到熟悉，
Can Misha
说
just
明
be
我
a
的猜
memory
测可能
left
是正
behind
确
by
的。
Mikkel? This place looks a bit familiar. This place reminds me of the place where we and Firefly almost met Sleepy. Misha feels familiar with this place. My hunch might be correct.
没错，你和刘莹小
Oh, it
姐
is.
就是在这里遭遇了死亡。现在该叫她沉眠了。考虑到她和刘梦娇的关联，
Wait, so if Black Swan
出现在这
Black
儿
Swan
倒是
didn't
不难
know.
理解。
Black Swan didn't interrupt Sleepy. We and Firefly could have found the truth much earlier. Sleepy was just there to ferry Firefly and us into the true penacony. But it seems like Black Swan came over, and then Black Swan ferried us both away. Considering its connection to Dreamflux Reef, it's not surprising it appeared
现
here.
在的问题是，是谁把你们带进了这里？依照目前的线索来看，可能并不是那位愚
But
者。
we didn't end up here ourselves.
他是谁，就十分关键了。
The question is, who brought you here? Based on the clues we have so far, it's unlikely to be the masked fool. So identifying them is crucial to us. Who brought you here? Is Himiko asking who brought me? Misha? Who brought me? I wasn't sure it was just a hunch. Who brought you here?
现在的问题是，是谁把你们带进了这里？依照目前的线索来看，可能
She says who brought all of you here. In plural sense in Chinese. Who brought all of you in here?
我们已经再次接近真相的核心。给米莎一点时间吧，她一定能为我们揭开梦泡的秘密。
Does that mean Himiko was by herself? It's a realm within a realm. Welcome back, Horsey. Thank you for the 3-month resub. Appreciate it. I hope work has been going alright. This place looks familiar. The question now is who brought all of you here? I wonder if it's implying Himiko was supposed to be here by herself? Black Swan cliffhangered us before. I wonder that's true. I wonder if Black Swan knew about true penacony. Damn it, Black Swan, she ruined everything. Black Swan, I wonder if she knew. Maybe she really thought she was saving us. Sparkle sent us here the first time. Right, Sparkle gave us a flick and then we fell over and then we woke up and it was us and Firefly.
好吧，可这里到处都是门，该从哪扇门出去呢？
We're back where we
米莎，
started in
你知道吗？
2.0. There are doors all over the place. Which one should we choose? Do you have any idea, Misha?
我想，可能是这边。
Maybe this way? Oh, follow Misha and help him recover his memories. Maybe Mikkel left him behind. I see. Wow. I see. We were stuck in a talking with Sunday for a long time. Follow Misha and help him recover. Time travels to the point before you left Dreamflux Reef. Wait, time reverses? Himiko returns from the golden hour with a powerful deduction. There may be some inextricable link between the empty dream bubble that the watchmaker is holding and Misha the bellboy. In order to prove it, you take Misha back into Mikhail's dream bubble. If everything goes as expected, the truth may be lurking here in this long dream of the child. Oh, and then it's the quest title of the patch. Then Wake to Weep. Our quest name is the name of the patch name. The patch, the version trailer name. Then weep to wake. Then Wake to Weep. Why does it say time reverses? Himiko returns from the golden hour. I guess this is like flashback. This is in the past, right? Because it says a while ago. So this happened before we met up with Sunday. So we're back in the past. After we talked to the watchmaker, Himiko did mention she was gonna go check out the bubble. I see. And then this is what happened in the past. And then not long ago, it's before we joined the game show. Then Wake to Weep. I see. We will continue. I can probably finish the quest tomorrow, right? We will continue. We'll probably pause our. Thank you, Sixorius, for the hydrate. Let me drink some water. I will go and rest well for our last part tomorrow. I'm excited. Let me drink some water. Let me play our. I like the BGM music I was playing earlier during the BRB screen. I like this music a lot. Thank you everyone for joining in for Story 2.2 part 2 playthrough. I didn't expect all the dialogue and the stories today were really interesting. Thank you for listening to me talk about some of my perspectives on the quest. I might have talked a bit much. I don't seem to have advanced the quest that much, but I look forward to finding out about the rest. Thank you for sharing some of your perspectives too. It's a really interesting quest. I can see why people said this was the best quest. Would you consider adding the Dove Scene BGM? Where would I find this? The Dove Scene BGM up on YouTube? I will be back tomorrow at the regular time in about 15 hours. I've been trying to rest more so I can focus more on the story. The story is really good. Hope everyone has a good rest of your weekend though, or a good start to your weekend. I think it's Mother's Day weekend. For some maybe all. Happy upcoming Sunday Mother's Day to everyone's mothers. Or yourself if you happen to be a mother. Hope everyone has a good weekend and Mother's Day ahead. Thank you to everyone on YouTube for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow. And thank you to everyone for the hydrates. On Mother's Day in your country was 2 days ago. I wasn't sure if it's the same for everyone. But to those of you who celebrate the Mother's Day in one day or later tomorrow, happy Mother's Day. Let's see who is streaming on Twitch. Will raid on Twitch and then I'll probably just end the YouTube stream. Thank you again to everyone for joining in on YouTube. I will try to schedule the right stream and start the right scheduled stream. Let me see if maybe I can click end stream on YouTube. Let me see if this ends. Goodbye to everyone on YouTube first. If I end